3, 2, 1, cheers. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Elk Lodge podcast. We've been gone for a few weeks. Apologies for that. We've been traveling a lot. We were in Italy. We were in Argentina. I was in Argentina.
Yeah, I'm noticing a lot of wheeze in there.
But you came to Italy.
It's true.
We were in Italy.
That one's true.
And then some other we's were in Argentina. No, but it's...
in Uruguay.
And Uruguay. Yeah, it's been a hectic few months. Hectic start of the year. But we're having a good time.
But that's not what this is about.
It's not about that,
Tell
guys.
us what this is about.
Go to Spotify and check out the Modern Mystics album called Lost and Profound. Is that what you meant?
Nope.
I doubt it. But people should. It's still out. And it's still great. This is about today's episode. Today's guest, a friend, Ben Boquist, who is the art teacher at Christine's school that she works at. Mm-hmm. And a delightful fellow. We talk about religion. We talk about humanity, childhood, kind of, faith.
Yeah.
I forget everything we talk about, but it's a great time.
It was a fun time. I always love getting to know people that I work with more beyond the school. And it was really cool to get more context for his experience and his background, what brought him to LA and what keeps him here. Yeah,
and Ben was a guy we've been saying for a while, we got to get Ben on the show. So finally happened. Also, as always, this show is brought to you by Hexa Coffee. That's Hexe Coffee. And if you go to hexacoffee.com and you check out using the promo code ELK, E-L-K, you get 10% off of your purchase. They age their beans in bourbon barrels and whiskey barrels, and it's amazing. You can also go to their cafe in Chicago if you live there, in Roscoe Village, Claiborne and Diversey, I believe. No? Am I making that up?
Sounds right.
Why did that roll off the tongue so effortlessly? It must be around there somewhere. So yeah, and without further ado, enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Rudy, that's right. That your parents left, moved out of your hometown?
Yeah. Well,
they're still together, your parents?
Yeah, not a hometown. We grew up traveling on a bus, so I don't really have a hometown.
You grew up traveling on a bus?
Yeah.
Why?
We were kind of like a gospel band.
Oh.
For about 10 years.
Like a family band. Mm-hmm. Nice. And you're doing a church tours, kind of.
Super church, yeah.
Going to different churches every Sunday? Mm-hmm.
And in the church, but my parents were both part of the Church of the Nazarene. My dad's a pastor.
Okay.
And everybody in my family, aunts, uncles, siblings, all went to this one Nazarene college. I went there too.
Where's that?
Mount Vernon, Ohio.
Okay. And what's Nazarene exactly?
Yeah, it's super, super Christian. It started in the turn of the century at this, actually here in Los Angeles at the Azusa Street Revival. It was a big Pentecostal movement where people were speaking in tongues and having visions of the Holy Spirit and all kinds of stuff. And they broke away from the Methodists and made their own movement. So now and then they went off two different ways. The more diverse people were Pentecostals, and all the conservative white people became Nazarenes.
Okay, so the Nazarene is the stricter.
Yeah.
So there was just Methodist, and then that fractured into multiple things. One of which was Nazarene.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not I didn't study the history of it. That's what I've absorbed. I'm probably if a hardcore Nazarene was watching this, they'd be like,
the Nazarene.
That's not it.
You want more wine?
Yeah.
That's interesting though. So what did you do in the family band? You sang?
Yeah, so the church, there was all kinds of stuff you couldn't do. You weren't allowed to go to a movie theater. You weren't allowed to play cards because cards was gambling and that was bad. You weren't allowed to do dancing at all because dancing led to premarital sex.
Oh, so it's some Footloose shit.
Kind of, yeah.
Dancing.
Let's get you right up on that mic. Bring that thing closer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nice and close.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So no dancing.
Way better.
No dancing.
Could you make art?
Yes, as long as it was telling people about Jesus.
Right.
That's the only appropriate art?
I don't think that was ever said outright, but yeah, totally.
It was very strongly suggested.
Very strongly suggested. And the Nazarenes, because they thought so many things were evil, like they kind of made their own subculture. So focus on the family. I don't know if you've heard that. Like Dr. James Dobson was like a really big political person for the religious right in the 90s. Mm-hmm. He's Nazarene. And they just kind of made their own, like, don't watch Disney movies. Watch these Christian cartoons that we've made.
Did they make Veggie Tales?
No, but they were kind of, it was...
You were about to convert, weren't you?
VeggieTales is dope, actually.
We used to watch VeggieTales at church. I went to a Lutheran church.
Oh, okay. Up. Yeah, Lutherans were like a less uptight version.
Yeah, I think it's a little more casual than the Nazarenes.
Yeah.
Sounds like. Were you allowed to watch VeggieTales, though?
Yeah. Oh, VeggieTales were celebrated.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, VeggieTales was actually like approved. Big. I was such a fan. They're funny. I wonder if they hold up.
Yeah, I don't know.
But so your family's traveling around. How many people in your family?
Well, I'm a family of 6 now. I have 3 other siblings. Most of the time when we were traveling, there were just 4 of us. When my little brother was born, I think we stopped traveling by the time he was 3. And then when my youngest brother was born, we'd already stopped. But because the church had so many separate things, like there was almost kind of like a vaudeville circuit for these churches of like speakers and singers. And we were kind of part of that, you know? Mm-hmm. So we would go to churches and we had a big like mobile home bus with Boquist Family Ministries painted on the side that we lived in. It was kind of like a tiny home before tiny homes were cool.
Yeah.
Or bunk beds in the back and everything. And we would just camp in church parking lots for like a week. And then like every night of the week, people would come for revival services, which is crazy. Like, can you imagine going to church every night of the week to hear some like weird family sing? But these people did that.
You would do a show every night.
It was mostly like my dad preaching a sermon every night, but there would be like little like skits before the sermon and like before and after sermon. Like we would sing songs and we would sell little cassette tapes of us singing like in the back of the church, you know?
And did you...
Rockstar band.
Yeah, right.
Were you just singing? Were you playing any instruments or anything?
I was just singing, but we also did like a lot of skits. So like my grandma would make us like Bible costumes. Like I had like a little like David tunic, you know, and I got to sing this song about slaying Goliath and like, I don't know. Yeah.
That's rad. And so are these like fond memories or was it like a drag? Like, here we go again.
Shoot. It's kind of both, I guess.
Yeah.
I think I was like a super lonely kid because besides like my sister, there weren't a lot of like consistent peers that I was interacting with, and we were homeschooled for about 10 years. Mm-hmm. So that was super depressing. But also like we got to go all over the place, you know. My mom was like our teacher, and so she would take us on field trips all the time, and that was kind of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right. You're like in DC, so it's like, we're going to go look at the White House actually, because we're here.
Exactly. I always loved when we would do revival services in Florida, because we would go to Disneyland or Disney World, you know?
Yeah, that's a good leg of the tour.
It is, yeah.
And so for how many like years or months did you guys do this consistently?
Yeah, from I think about 10 years. It might have been more than 10 years. We stopped, I think, in 1996, so I would have been 11.
Wow.
And then my dad started a church in Ohio. Yeah. So.
And he's a priest or a pastor?
He's a pastor.
Yeah. And he's still practicing.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Wow.
How long has he been at it? Like, that's a long
Oh, gosh.
career.
I mean, 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah, about that long.
And so he found a new parish or church or whatever where they are now.
Yeah.
And that's what prompted the move? Or they were like, we're moving?
My sister and her husband lived there, and so I think they wanted to be closer to them.
Cool.
So they found a job closer to them, yeah.
And are you yourself still religious?
Yeah, I am.
Nice.
It's complicated, you know?
Sure.
I was at church yesterday, actually.
Nice.
That's the first time I've been since Christmas Sunday, I think. But I'm gay. I came out at like 30, so pretty late. And everything from the church, like, taught me that was wrong. So I spent like, about 15 years, like in the ex-gay Christian movement, trying to be straight and then just trying to be like a celibate gay Christian. So lots of fun, you know, traumatic stuff in there. But I've tried not being Christian, and it doesn't ever entirely work. You know, it's just kind of like a first language, like it's just kind of like a mythic system that gives you shorthand for understanding a whole bunch of things. And so when you take that away, like, I mean, it meets it. Regardless of what I believe about it, like as an absolute truth, which I still wrestle with, the technology of Christianity works, like giving meaning, like even some of like the fear of consequences stuff, sort of like God's watching me, so I have to not do X, Y, and Z. Some those things can be helpful. They can be really messed up too, but they can be helpful.
Sure. I mean, it's kind of like, well, I mean, growing up in it, that immersed, it's like part of your identity. You know, it's like, it would be like me trying to not be American all of a sudden. It's like, you know, I don't agree with everything America does, but I am American. Like, I can't really change that.
It's the water, right? Like, you can't do anything about it. Yeah, exactly like that.
That's cool, though. So you get, like, when you leave church, or when you're sitting in church, I mean, I guess it must be different nowadays. You're not still hearing, like, an anti-gay rhetoric at church,
Not at all.
You?
No, I go to a super, like, lefty liberal Episcopal church with a rainbow flag over the door.
Nice. You know? Good.
Yeah, and I love that. But sometimes it's even a little bit much for me. I'm like, okay, like, we get it. Yeah, okay, you know?
Right. You accept me. Thank you.
Yes.
Let's move on.
Yeah, like, you don't have to, like, throw a parade every time I come in here with a guy. It's just my cousin. Like, calm down. Yeah. But it's really well meant. And so even when it is cringe, it's like, oh, like, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in you.
Yeah.
Are you still making those? What was it? You did some sort of like nativity set at the holidays. Is that right?
I started making little clay polymer nativity sets, like as Christmas presents for family members back in high school. And I think I've made at least one every year since then. I graduated high school in 2004. So
nice.
And then I started an Etsy store, I think in 2018. And I thought I would just sell a handful, and it kind of blew up. I have like little nativity sets in Puerto Rico and Holland and all 50 states. So
all 50 states. 50. That's great.
You know, that's a sentence that sounds really good. I'll have to find out if that's actually true.
To even have 50 sales is pretty cool, though.
Seriously.
I've got way more than that.
That's
wow.
incredible.
If I don't have all 50, I think I have most of them. I don't think I have Alaska.
Well, somebody in Alaska.
If you're out there,
place an order at the holidays or
Palin,
pre-order.
Sarah Palin, you want it. You know you want it. Yeah. What's unique about the sets? Like, what do you make them out of?
I make them out of Sculpey.
Sculpey.
Yeah.
What's Sculpey? Like clay?
So funny.
Sculpey. Well, it sounds like what a kid would call clay that they didn't know was clay. Like, can I use like some Sculpey? Sculpey.
Yeah.
It's
what is
the
Sculpey?
noise that it makes when you put it in your hand. It's an oven bake. I keep saying polymer clay. That's a word, right? That's a thing.
Yeah.
So it's like a clay.
Polymer means it's made from multiple things.
Yeah, molding clay that isn't.
Yeah, they kind of look like claymation things, like
clay.
Tim Burton or Gumby or something like. I mean, but they're very minimal. They don't have a lot of facial detail, and I do like a lot of marbling for like the cloaks, and then I wrap them around. So kind of like Veggie Tales, you know how they don't really have arms; they just kind of like. Things kind of hover up.
Yes.
They're kind of like that aesthetic. They're very slender and tall, and they have like, you can recognize which one is Mary and Joseph and the three wise men and everything, but it's very like, it's a blank canvas for your imagination.
Very cool.
You know?
So when did you start doing that?
In high school.
You were making them for family. When did you start selling them?
2018.
And that was immediately online, or you just had a friend be like, "Can I buy one of those?" Like,
I think I did have a couple people ask if they could buy them, so I made an Etsy store, and then,
wow,
yeah, I didn't do it this year. This was like the first year in a long time that I haven't done it. I made just like 1 or 2 sets for some people, and then with my roommates now, like we all just had the polymer clay out, and instead of making nativity, we made like Christmas aliens, and we made like a Christmas alien set. So it was kind of like
that seems like that. I would appreciate that.
Yeah, it was kind of like my first like secular nativity.
That's cute.
Which was very cute.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so you know Christine through being an art teacher at the school that Christine works at, and you've been there for like 10 years.
Yeah, it'll be 10 years in September.
Was
exciting.
Yeah.
And you love your job, from what I've heard.
Yeah, I do.
Was it a goal? Like
not at
to
all.
Become a teacher, to become an art teacher, to be involved in art? Where was like?
Yeah, it wasn't. Teaching wasn't on my radar at all. I went to a small Nazarene college, conservative Christian college in Ohio, and I was majoring in art. And I loved my art professors, and I had some really good, talented art friends there. But an art degree from that school doesn't really mean a whole lot in a lot of circles. And so I moved out to LA to do production design. And I worked on that for about 4 years, just kind of freelance. And I worked on some cool web series and stuff, but just the constant hustle of like not necessarily knowing where next month's resources were coming from was really like anxiety inducing. So I found a little part-time job just for some consistency at this school in their like childcare after school thing. And
the Village.
The Village, yes. I wasn't sure how
Takes a village.
The Village is the after school program?
Yes.
Oh,
yes, it is.
Yeah. And then during that time, like kids would like ask me to tell them stories. And so it started just with like one kid like, hey Ben, can you tell me a story? And so I would make up just bullshit stories. And after a couple weeks, like the groups of kids got bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's so cute.
wow.
And so Billy, our boss at the Village, was like, it looks like Ben's holding court, because like I would just kind of, and I became like a de facto storyteller. And so then the next year they were like, you're really good with kids and like classroom management. You should get in a classroom. And I was like, I'm not managing anybody. I'm just making up stuff. You know? But then I really, really liked it. And it was just, yeah. I was involved in this really dysfunctional church at the time. One of those communities where like, when I moved out of Ohio to this like liberal place, but the first thing that I did was find another conservative community to kind of get locked into. And it was really insular, where like all of your friendships and relationships are kind of in that space, you know? And there were some really good people in that space, but there was a lot of dysfunction and just like a lot of like ugly kind of group dynamics, you know? And so at the school, it was like a window into a different community, and I could kind of like transition out of that. Yeah.
It's nice.
And then you blink and 10 years goes by.
And then here we are, 10 years later.
10 years later. It offered me the same, really. I was like so desperate for a community at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just was like working from home here on a job that was focused on things that were happening in Tucson. And it was like a sort of major disconnect between.
Yeah. Well, and you had just moved here too, so like you didn't really have
here.
Like you were sort of moved into my world. You didn't have like friends and things to call your own necessarily.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah. So then I was like, all right, what do I do? What do I know that brings me joy? Working with kids. So
yeah,
switched over there.
Kids are great.
They are. They're
Kids
also
are
crazy.
so great. They're like super blunt and super hilarious and mostly super sweet, you know? Mm-hmm. Like they just kind of like, on a good day with kids, you leave feeling really optimistic. Like, oh, like,
yeah.
You know, it doesn't always work that way, but it does more often than not, I think. So.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm like starting to spend more of my week like subbing regularly.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Have you subbed for me yet?
No.
Why not?
I don't know.
You're such a good artist, and I've missed so much school this year. Why have they not called you?
I'm never there, though.
I did get chewed up the other day. For real.
What were the kids' names? We can say their names.
That's a hard class. I had them today. That's a hard class.
It was tough. They were testing me. They were really testing me.
That makes me think of like in church, like the devil was testing me.
Oh yes,
or God, you're
like
testing
that.
me.
It was like that.
Give me the strength.
Yeah,
a lot of them were just.
That's funny.
I mean, they took their independent work seriously, but like the circle time, they were really testing.
Kids can be brutal. I mean, I remember. We would make some subs like cry, you know, or like there was always the one kid who could like make a sub cry, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit. Like, it's like John's going to fuck this substitute teacher up and just ruin her day for sure.
John. No,
I was thinking John.
Oh,
John and Jeff, our two friends, John and Jeff, were just like a substitute, any teacher's worst nightmare. But like a sub, it's like, oh, you're going down.
They don't stand a chance, yeah.
It is rough.
Yeah, I don't know why kids take such glee in kind of like watching adults crumble, but
because it's like you realize a moment that like, oh my gosh, we kind of have some control of this guy. Like he's more out of his element, or he or she is more out of their element than we are. This is our world, and we have some control over this adult. And if they're psychopaths, they can manipulate it. No, I'm just kidding. But like, I mean, it's just fun. It's exciting. And then
they're all little
the rest of the kids, sure. But then like, I'm sitting there just
us.
cracking up laughing because this is so funny because like we're picking on an adult, you know, it's like, it's just this weird exercise of power. It almost just
Here's
feels
how
good.
I knew it was like going badly. One of the little girls like came up to me and offered like mechanisms to get their attention, you know.
She's like, try clapping.
I bet I can guess which one.
Do you want to?
Yeah, we'll bleep out the name though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Wave. Go ahead, say it.
Janice's class,
Yeah.
right? Oh gosh.
What? Who's the nice one?
Well, who's the controlling one who stepped in to be helpful?
Yeah, it was. She pulled me aside. She didn't embarrass me.
Oh, that's really thoughtful.
It was very well delivered.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very thoughtful.
I mean, you're both naturals with kids, it sounds like, with you being like sort of, they gravitated towards you.
Yeah,
That's how you
I
got the
think so.
job. But has your skill of like wrangling a group of children improved, do you think, over the 10 years? Do you notice like differences?
Well, yes. I know, like I have a toolbox of tricks to kind of like, mostly to distract them, not necessarily to like make them change or make them kind of like force them into right behavior, because that just doesn't work. But you can say like, Simon Says, and like even the ones who are trying to mess up like want to be the best at Simon Says, so they're going to stop, you know.
So it's more herding. It's like you can't control where they go, but you can kind of keep them together.
Once I realized that teachers were just clowns, I was like, oh, all right. Like, what if I said this in a silly voice? Oh, now we were all going to be quiet. Okay, cool. You know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I wasn't that open, so that makes sense. You got to practice that.
Yeah.
I know. I was after I left, I was like, I should have had them like stand up and sit down, like something to interrupt them, because just sitting around the carpet was just
It's almost like being heckled. It's like bombing as a stand-up comedian, then it just plays over and over in your head. Like, fuck, next time I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that. Like, you're probably so good. If a class tried to like turn on you, you probably, even without knowing it, have just some like instinctual ways to just suppress the rebellion quickly.
We share a wall.
Yeah, we're close. I hear you sometimes.
Right.
And Ben will be like, make the kids leave and re-enter the classroom if they can't like get it right on the first time, you know. I'm like,
squash it.
Nice.
Shut it down.
He's shutting it down. We're taking it from the top. Let's play it back. Calm your bodies.
I also like storytelling controls. So like I have a supply closet in my classroom that doesn't have a door. It's just open all the time. And there's like all kinds of fun art stuff that they can get into back there. And there's a wall. So if they go back there, I can't see them. And so I tell them that it's haunted. And the lights are always off. And I painted the trash can to look like this really like ghoulish like goblin face, and it's called the Art Goblin, you know, and it sits kind of like on that wall. And I'm like, guys, there are goblins that live back there. You know, there's like a crack in the wall. It's a portal to the goblin realm. And they haven't eaten any kids this year. But don't try to go back there, because I don't know what will happen. And I just kind of like let them. And then like there's like a whole poem about the Art Goblin that comes out at night. And like when they ask for story, like if they line up fast enough, then I'll tell them stories. And like, you know, some of them will like get sucked into the goblin portal, and like, you know, they.
Oh my gosh.
So, and then like, I think that they like, even the older kids, like every once in a while I'll get one of them who'll be like, but really it's just a closet, right? Like, there's not actually. Yeah. And I'm like,
I don't know.
That's what my brother thought, but
that's what the last two
now I
said.
only have 2 siblings.
Yeah. I mean, but these kids are going to go home, watch Stranger Things, and then be like, oh my God, we're going to go into Ben's portal, in the art portal.
Seriously.
Let's
he's
explore
gonna be like, everything he said was true.
Yeah. They're going to like come in on a mission.
See, the thing is like, control is an illusion, you know. I really was trying not to like control the herd and like get too caught up in like wrangling them, because I knew that that's not a good place to be. But yeah, I mean, generally better listening happens when you're connected to kids, and some of them know me better than others, but yeah, I don't know. But a lot of it is just really good connection, which is the part that's hard when you sub.
You say better listening is, what was the quote? Better listening is happening when you're connected to kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when, you know.
That's a really good, amen.
Have you ever like lost your cool? And then at that point, like, is there any coming back, or it's like you're just kind of, you're done for the day? You can't come back from losing
I don't
cool?
think I've ever yelled at kids. I've definitely lost control, you know. But I'm pretty good at pivoting. So, like this week, I was trying to lead them all in a sewing project. and just trying to get them to thread their own needles was just like, there were a bunch of, our school doesn't have Mr. or Mrs. anything. It's just everybody calling you by your first name. Mm-hmm. So about 12 kids at the same time were just like, bad. And you're like, I can't do my needles. So then we just like put that down and we started a new project. And that was fun.
Nice.
It worked.
Good pivot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you talked to me the first day. You're like, sewing. This is just, why do I leave it in the curriculum every year?
You know, like the shows or like the cartoon trope where you give cat yarn and then you cut back to the cat and it's like, and it's got yarn. That's exactly children with thread.
Yeah, like tangles itself up somehow. Like it's crazy. Yeah. Like tying a really good knot is hard, but like if you just like crumble it together, like you get knots that you can't get out.
Yeah.
It's wild. When you were traveling around and stuff, would you ever like meet kids in that town and like kind of have a little adventure, or were you mostly sticking to the family unit?
Yeah, we were like, I mean, Midwest suburban white Christians, I guess, are very like hospitable to other people like them. So, you know, we'd always get like invited to, you know, after church potlucks and things at people's houses. And it was a lot of like very friendly short-term interaction with people that you don't get to know super well.
Were you sort of like...
Which I find that kind of socialization very exhausting.
You know, I
like
kind of find the opposite.
That's what I was trying to talk about. Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. Part of me doesn't enjoy... I don't know. It's like I don't... If I know I'm never going to see you again, it kind of bums me out.
Yeah.
You're just like, we're just wasting our time. We're just spinning our wheels here.
No, not necessarily, you know, but...
But it's like, why am I putting in all this effort if this is not going to go anywhere?
Yeah, like I'm never going to see you again. We're just sort of going through the motions here. We're not really having a meaningful conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus if it's like somebody you really care for, you can talk about nothing or anything under the sun or nothing at all, and it would still be like, fill you up.
Sure.
Huh.
I don't know.
But you, not so much.
Well, I mean, I agree with that, and that makes sense. I think sometimes it's harder to like continue to get to know people. Like the short-term stuff is really, it's so easy to have like a awesome like first impression of with somebody. Like just ask questions, make eye contact, like say something warm. But then like everything that happens after that is like risky and scary, because then the person could like potentially hurt you or offend you or scare you or do whatever, you know. There's like a lot less risk in like short-term interactions. I'm better at it now, but as a kid, like that was kind of what was familiar, you know.
The short-term interaction, because you're just there for a short while.
Yeah.
Were you like the special, like, oh, this kid's like on tour, he's cool, it's like exciting, or was it like,
oh, I think
who's
I was
this
a
kid?
big nerd.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I can sing pretty well, so I think I felt kind of like a rock star singing like those hymns on stage, you know.
Yeah.
I was probably like a little bit of a ham about it.
Yeah.
But also like I was wearing like Bible costumes like around like a bunch of strangers, and so as I started to get older, like preteen, I was like, I'm wearing a dress in front of all these like other peers that are my age. This is like, I want to die. You know?
So yeah, how old were you like when you guys did your last run?
I think I was 11.
And it started to feel sort of like uncool what you were doing, or were you still into it? I think so,
yeah. I think I had an awareness that there was an ideal of cool that I was not at around 11.
I'm not it.
Yeah, I was like, something's a little different. And then being gay is like a whole other layer on top of that, you know? So
yeah, and when did you like realize you were gay?
Oh my gosh, when did Aladdin come out? Was that 97?
Might have been.
That little purple vest running around stealing bread and stuff?
And that was it.
Oh, yeah.
And did you know like I'm gay, or was it just like Aladdin's pretty like making me kind of feel good?
Oh yeah, and like for months after that, I'd be like, I wonder what Aladdin would think about this, you know, just like, and with so cute. Kind of like realization of what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, at that age, I didn't really know what like gay
Aladdin made such an impression on me too.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What's the moment?
I was obsessed with Jasmine. I was her for Halloween
Jasmine
like one year.
Yeah. Jasmine was when I realized I was straight.
Okay.
Like she was my first like crush, which is weird. She's a cartoon.
That movie was so many people's sexual awakening.
Yeah,
it was quite a sexual awakening, wasn't it? Yeah.
What was the moment, and what do you remember? When was the
I just remember her being like so powerful with her tiger.
With her tiger.
I'm like, who are you?
Isn't there that one scene in the middle, like at the beginning, where like the suitor is like leaving, and like the tiger's like holding a little bit of his underpants, and it's Jaws.
I don't even remember that, but
like,
I bet you're right.
Playing with him.
Yeah. And he's just,
and
she's just not having it.
Yeah.
She's all like shutting it down.
And she was like a strong.
She was super
woman,
strong.
And she was like, I'm not fucking doing this.
Yeah.
Like Cinderella bullshit. You know, you can't just marry me off to some. I mean, it's sort of a classic tale.
She was mesmerizing.
Princess refuses to marry suitors. But yeah, she's strong. Hot, strong, tiger.
Yeah.
She's perfect.
Oh, Disney.
Yeah.
They've made so many moments that we all share. It's insane.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
It's really profound. Like, they have such an insane volume of material that so many people know.
Yeah.
And it's so easy now to look at them as just like a corporation. You know, that's kind of how I see them. It's like, but like to a kid, corporate. Like they are like connecting you through like this magic. And it's not like you have to be a Disney movie to give people that feeling, but they're pretty consistent. They're pretty solid.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are impressively consistent.
Especially like, I mean, maybe we're just biased, but like that era, the 90s, like Lion King, Aladdin.
It was really
bangers coming.
Yeah.
It was so great.
Little Mermaid,
Toy Story.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Things were happening.
They were. And then for me, like, those were the only movies in theaters that I got to see as a kid, because like my parents were ordained within the church, so they weren't actually allowed to go to movie theaters. Like if they were found out, I don't know what would happen, but I think it would have reflected really badly on them.
Oh, like impeachment. They would have been impeached.
I don't know. I mean, Nazarenes aren't that strict anymore. Now everybody goes to the movies. But my parents would drop us off like at the Metroplex or whatever, at a mall or whatever, wherever we were in America, my sister and I. And they would be like, okay, go see this movie. Your mom and I are going to grab dinner. And then like, you can't tell anybody at the church that we're about to go to that you saw this movie. It'll just be like your nice little treat, you know?
Wow.
And then we saw like one movie a year, like the big Disney movie that would come out in the summer. Mm-hmm. So I remember like the one that made the hugest impression was Beauty and the Beast, because I was like 6 maybe. And, you know that scene where the cups keep stacking up on top of each other and like the shot gets wider and wider? And I was like, oh my God, another row of cups. What the fuck? You know, like Be Our Guest, you know what I'm talking
I don't remember
Yeah.
the exact cup
Wait,
visual.
when like the washing scene?
No.
They were like preparing for the party.
Well, there's a part where like they're doing like this Ziegfeld Follies
sure.
kind of thing, and like dishes are all stacked up on top of each other, and like this big like synchronized swimming thing, and it pulls out.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm
yeah.
gonna look it up.
Yeah.
It's not important. I don't. But that was like.
But it was just so. It was breathtaking.
It was
Apparently it
rapturous. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Did that do something to you, like the fact that your parents are like, oh, you know, like don't tell the church, like, oh wow, there's things we do, like my parents are saying it's okay to break the church's rules a little bit. Did that kind of like shake your like
maybe
principles about the church?
Maybe a little bit, yeah. And it was kind of like, we believe that all Christians are God's people, but some Christians are a little bit fanatical, so we don't have to be like them.
Right.
And actually that belief was really helpful, because I mean, my parents have never been Camp Trump, and a lot of the other people in the church were pretty early on. So that little vein of independent thought was like a really great thing.
Yeah.
To have.
I mean,
in the soup.
I wonder if that's kind of what has helped you stay Christian throughout your life. That it's
probably.
Like you learned early on, like there's leeway here. You know,
yeah,
like it's not like.
I feel like one consistent. I mean, they never would have worded it this way, but God's not an asshole, right? Like, I feel like of all the things that I can kind of get grumpy about with like messages that I got as a kid, the idea that God's not an asshole was loud and clear from early on. And so whenever I heard a version of God that was an asshole, I was just like, oh, well, that's not God. So
it's the wrong one.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Or the wrong interpretation of what he's up to.
Did you have times in your life where you're like, I'm done, like I'm fully out of here? Or did you always kind of find some value in it?
Well, what's interesting is that like, I have a lot of really close friends who have gone through sort of their faith deconstruction, and I'm always a little bit jealous because there's like this clarity on the other side of that. Like, I don't have to feel guilty about this anymore. I can be like super sex positive because like these are constructs that don't apply to me anymore. Or like, I don't have to pray for guidance about this big decision I'm about to make because like I'm the master of my own destiny and those kind of things. And I love those ideas, but they just don't, it feels like a performance when I try to make my mind do them, I guess. Yeah. There's
just this natural gravity towards like the the belief system of Christianity, of just God, I guess, in general, is really what you're kind of anchored to.
There's like this other consciousness in my head that I'm always aware of that I can't really turn off. It's just like, I don't know, like a framework that I have kind of like understood reality inside. So it's like, either it's real or I'm so brainwashed I can't tell the difference. But either way, the effect is that this is the way my brain works. So, yeah.
But like either it's real or I've been brainwashed, anyone can say if they're being honest, like
that's absolutely true.
If I'm like agnostic and I think it's just, we're just specks of dust or whatever.
Yeah.
Either it's real or I'm just delusional. Like it's no, there's really not a lot of difference.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, so what
you
is
have
yours?
this? Well, I guess agnostic is the word. I don't really believe in God, or like destiny or fate, or that we're special, or heaven, or I don't even know if I believe in a soul. But I grew up Lutheran, and like I'm glad I did. Like there's nice. It's a nice thing. I think Christianity at its heart is like a bunch of people getting together, singing songs and like being grateful. And I think that's great. Mm-hmm. That was what my church always was too. It was never like a fire and brimstone. Like, even like no one was saying gay people are bad or anything.
Yeah.
Like,
Lutherans are cool.
Lutherans are pretty chill. We had a gay like vicar at one point.
Oh, that's great.
So it was never any of that. Like, but I just kind of was like, I'm just not buying. I just don't agree with it. I don't know. And so, but there was no like, fuck this, God is not real. Like it was just kind of slowly. I just, I'm happy to go to church for Christmas, or like if my family wanted to go, I might go.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't like drag my feet and complain the whole time, but it's not really anything
We stopped at his church over Christmas, and it was one of the most peaceful churches I've ever been in. Actually, I'd go to that church too. It was so beautiful. Like, this kind of vaulted ceiling, and then all along the side was just glass windows and tons of forest.
Yeah, it was like in the woods. My church was cool.
And so,
that's cool.
Yeah, and apparently there's been like deer that come up right at the, during services and all this like peaceful stuff. And then, the organs in there sounded so good. It's nice.
Yeah,
I think, like you said, there's a lot of churches that are good for people, and a lot of churches that maybe aren't.
But what I was saying, like, I'm sometimes sort of jealous. Like, there is, a little more happiness and like, I'm struggling to find the right words, but like solidness in the beliefs of like,
I do feel a little
God, like you feel sort of the love and the connection.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm jealous of it. I think I do.
I feel like I'm jealous of
this is exactly. That's
sometimes.
Kind of the funny. Like,
I wanted to ask. So, like, for me, I feel when I've tried to kind of go agnostic or atheist, what stops me is just that, like, I don't know, like my subconscious has this dialogue with this like other entity that I define as God, but like. And so when I'm trying to make decisions, I can get really indecisive because I want to find out what that person thinks. Or if I feel like I've made a mistake, I can feel really guilty because of what I worry that person thinks. And just not having that part in your brain, like, I mean, what is a decision-making process for you? Like when you have like 3 options and you're not sure which to do, is it easier because you don't have that?
No, I think I still do have that. I think I just don't think of it as I'm talking to like God, but there's like a debate. There's separate voices in my head that talk to each other and like debate. And I have sort of, I don't know if like you would call like one is the mind, one is like the soul or something like that. But it feels like one of the voices seems like the more kind of what you would think is like the soul, where it's like, it's not ego driven. It's sort of just like your instinct. You go like, what is that voice saying? And I try to kind of trust that voice, whereas there's the other one which is more analytical, but also more like fear and ego sort of driven. But I do have these separate voices, and like like what is that? Maybe that's God.
That's so true, because it's like exactly the same. It's just different words for it, which is so cool. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like, it's we probably do kind of believe the same thing
without like. That's so interesting. I guess in that there's just so much more trust of yourself, right? Because I think like sometimes some religious ideas are all about like how we're sinful and we're bad, and so we need to seek the wisdom of this like higher thing that is more kind of infinite and wise than us, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I tend to be like not always super trustful of those internal dialogues that I feel like are me, you know? But if I can chalk it up to God, then I am more trustful of it. Mm-hmm. So I get like from your position, it sounds just like, I don't know, like your sense of self includes a belief that you're intrinsically good. Would you say that's
good-ish,
true?
You know?
Yeah.
I think
good-ish. We talk about that sometimes at school, but like, I don't know, just, I don't think I'm Mother Teresa, but I also don't think I'm evil, and I know I don't try to harm people.
You're pretty Mother Teresa.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I'm not that nice. I'm not that good. I've done a lot of bad things.
Isn't that what Mother Teresa would say?
She would be so humble as to not accept the compliment.
Oh, come on.
No, yeah, I think.
But it is liberating to, you know, not hear the shame. But like, because I definitely, I think I inherited some of that and kind of tried pretty hard to shake it off. I don't know. It's just, it's also, I don't know, the shame of women owning sexuality. Like, I still feel like I can still hear the echoes, the faint echoes of just this culture that is just wanting women not to be completely powerful, you know?
Which
I don't
is
appreciate that.
Society has made it feel that way.
It feels like, you know, really, I guess what I'm even thinking about it is like the kind of really intense Christian society. Yeah. Like that.
Which is where we all came from a couple generations ago, right? Yeah. That's like in the water.
Definitely.
Yeah. I don't want that. I don't want that anywhere near me. And so I do feel a sort of rebelliousness against that kind of energy.
Yeah, me too.
And, it's so, not against, I don't know.
It's interesting. Like I feel like one thing that keeps me Christian is just an understanding that before it was anything else, it was kind of a labor movement. Like, I feel like my politics have moved super far to the left the more I've gotten older, you know? And like, I heard somewhere last week that like in the Roman Empire, 20% of the population were slaves. And one of the populations that Christianity caught on really fast with was the slave population. Just because it was like a narrative that gave people personal dignity, and it was like the idea that we can divest from this like Roman economic system and kind of have like this spiritual economy that's separate from that. And that sort of brought down the whole empire over a couple generations, you know, and then it got co-opted by power and became really ugly. And then, you know, Vikings converted to Christianity and brought their awful homophobia and woman hate with it, you know, and like, but I think there is a redeemable thing to extract from all of that doesn't have all of the shame in it. I don't think Christians have a monopoly on shame.
No,
necessarily.
It's true.
Yeah.
No, definitely not. But yeah, you're I agree with you. It's like at the heart of it, it's not so bad. It's like pure and pleasant, and but yeah, it gets sort of co-opted and like bastardized over time and turned into this.
And used like thing. Ammo, you know. I kind of subscribe to the energy of like, if you're not harming other people, right, then you're, whatever you do can't be that bad. And absolutely. I really don't appreciate like subjecting other people to your agenda, like the will. Like, I just get so fired up about it.
In some ways, but like, you know, we do that too. I mean, it's not like a fact that it's wrong to kill people. It's just an opinion that we think it's not okay to kill people. So we impose this belief on others and say, I don't care what you believe. If you killed Brad, you're going to jail. Like, it's bad to kill people. We decided that. It's not actually true. We just sort of agree on it, and we impose that on others who don't always agree with it. Some people, you might be saying, no, I think it was okay to kill Brad. And we're like, too bad. You know, like, I think there's also this, like, Christianity has, like, sort of soiled its own name a lot by being so strict and such like assholes sometimes, like at the strictest,
and being so violent.
Where it's like, it's like, man, fuck them for trying to impose their beliefs, but we're imposing our beliefs on everybody.
No, they just spent, there was 20 million ad spent on like He Saves and the Super Bowl, and like they have a church or a Christian organization has every right to buy ad time like anybody else, but
I feel like they don't have every right because they don't pay taxes.
I don't appreciate
They're nonprofits.
I didn't want to see it.
Churches
I don't want to
should
see it.
pay taxes.
Churches should pay taxes. I
completely agree.
I was more jazzed up to see Rihanna freaking grab her crotch and smell it and just stir up some controversy than I was to see the He Saves. I don't need to be saved. I don't appreciate this energy that I need to be saved.
Yeah.
Because I am good enough, and I do appreciate life, and I take things, I make holy the like ordinary things. Like I find ways to have faith in the world around me, the natural world, and like to me that's what is sacred. And I think I don't know, it's hard to, I get mad at society in general. The thing I take sacred is just abused and like treated so badly in this country.
What is that thing?
Like all of the natural spaces we have, it's just
are treated so badly.
Yeah, all of it.
What do you mean?
We just do a shitty job taking care of the environment and our food system and all of the yards, the wasted space in our, like the way Americans live with these massive yards that aren't even used for anything useful other than cosmetics.
What's that to do with God?
I don't know, I'm just raving.
Okay, it's just going.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with like, I mean,
I just
that belief is that that space is sacred, that nature is sacred, that the place where we live is sacred, and for some people to kind of hoard it or abuse it is abusive to something sacred. And just totally agree.
And just the way that, like, to me, if I was like, that's the religion I would subscribe to, is like this place that's really like committed to taking care of the people that are on the land and the land itself. Like that to me is something that would get me jazzed and out of bed on a Sunday morning. But I've never found that kind of organization or like structure. And
we watched 1883, which is like a Yellowstone prequel.
Oh, okay.
And there's like Native Americans in it. And one of them, he says something that was really cool. He was like, you guys think the land belongs to you, but like we belong to the land. Like no land belongs to me. I belong to the land.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
It was a beautiful sentiment. Like,
yeah. But I was like with the, I was actually thinking about this the other day because we'll have children someday, and I wouldn't take them to church because I don't believe it. But I was thinking like maybe some kind of every Sunday, some sort of a ceremony would be really nice and really beneficial. Even if like we make a fire pit in the backyard every Sunday and everybody goes around and says what they're grateful for, or we think about people we've lost, we remember our ancestors, I don't know, but like some kind of weekly ceremony maybe would be really nice.
I totally love that. I think the rituals are so good for the human spirit. Like that works for me, to have like habits are so helpful. I don't know, they're just kind of help you reduce anxiety, I feel like, and just increase connection. Like I think that's a great habit. It makes sense.
Yeah.
To do stuff like that. I like holidays that pass just like, or represent the passing of time, like seasons and stuff.
Yeah.
Like even though I'm not religious, I always find myself like cooking a big feast for Easter. I'm like, how does this happen every year? I'm like,
you're culturally Christian.
I'm like culturally Christian, and it's
and Easter is culturally pagan. I mean, that predates.
I know,
it was like the spring
funny.
Harvest. I don't know what it's called in like paganism, but
I just like those moments in time. Like it makes sense to have celebrations to like check in and differentiate March from September, and just to help you be grounded in the way the air feels when it touches your skin when you step outside, and what food you can buy at your grocery store or you can grow in your own yard. Like, I don't know. That's the kind of spark I feel like is just missing from the whole offering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like all those sort of things.
But your church? was really beautiful.
My church.
Home.
Oh yeah.
With the nature wall, the glass windows, it felt and very warm in there.
I always felt I didn't always want to go to church on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And especially when I was older, like I want to go smoke pot with my friends. I don't want to go to church, But like every time I left, I did feel kind of nice and kind of good, and like my cup was full,
Yeah.
And like there's something to it.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of power.
Do you use pot in your spiritual practice? Because I definitely do.
I don't have
smoke before I go to church, and I just sit up there in the balcony and listen to the choir, and I'm just
Nice.
like, oh,
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's like a whole other layer of kind of like connectedness.
I don't have like a spiritual practice right now. Maybe making music is I think
it is. I feel like everybody does.
Well, then I for sure use pot during my spiritual practice.
Yeah, like
definitely.
your spiritual practice is anything that you do to kind of like care for your. I was going to say soul, but I guess that's a word that doesn't mean it.
No, but I know what you mean when you say it.
I think you do to care for yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
So art making is definitely part of that.
Yeah, for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
maybe this is a spiritual
weed,
practice.
The weed is.
This is part of
For
it.
me, it's
I mean,
the
my
time
cup usually
outside.
feels very full after a podcast.
Yeah.
I like it.
Time outside for me is like, especially not like more than a hike, like camping, sleeping outside, hiking strenuously.
Yeah.
That makes me feel like in tune with my own inner dialogue and open to other possibilities, I'd say.
Yeah.
More interested in like those questions.
What was the last kind of like, I don't know, like mountaintop spiritual experience you had in nature? Like the last like moving thing that you were just like, wow.
I'm picturing the first thing that came to mind was like hiking out of the Grand Canyon, and it started drizzling, and it was just really a really welcome rain. It wasn't that hot yet, but it was just exciting to be cooled off a little bit by rain. It was just really nice. That was a while ago, but that was the first one that came to mind.
The spiritual.
I was going to say, I went to the beach. Lately, it's been the beach, too. Like, I've never grown up. I used to go to the lake, I guess, sometimes, but retreat to the lake or, like, the woods. But, yeah, going to the beach has been really powerful since living here.
I love just, like, staring out into, like, I almost just feel like staring out into emptiness, right? Because it's just, like, all this visually empty stuff. And it just feels like, I don't know, your thoughts in your mind has space. It's a kind of, I love that.
Especially here, too, when everything is, like, so busy all the time, to finally make it to the edge there.
Yeah.
It's, like, profoundly in contrast to the hour drive that it took to get there, Just
and the noise of just, like, whoosh.
It's so perfect.
Yeah, I definitely want to live near the beach.
I went down to the tide pools, like, a couple weekends ago. It was really nice. It was a far drive, but down in like the peninsula, almost like Redondo Beach area, or even further, like in Torrance actually. But yeah, there were barnacles everywhere and urchins, and I kept like falling and giggling because all the rocks were so slippery. And I don't know, had a picnic out on the rocks. It was nice. Walked around. Just love it.
Yeah, they say there's like something. I think it's like measurable that like seeing the horizon like calms people a lot, like just getting that visual of, maybe it's just seeing the vastness of things and like you kind of feel smaller, or it's more peaceful. I'm not sure. But so what
that feels
it's
very
like
true.
the rhythm of it I find comforting, I think, just knowing that,
and
like,
just the constant
relentless passing of
can't
the waves.
stop it, can't
Can't
change
stop
it.
it. Why bother?
Yeah, like
there's
it's
something
there.
It's a surrendering moment to me when I look at the
I hear that.
ocean. And I don't know, just like don't need all the answers, because it's all just gonna get washed up anyways.
Yeah.
What do you think happens when you die?
I don't know. Yeah, I have this. I guess I am a Christian. I think I can objectively say that, but I also feel like I'm sort of like a bi-weekly atheist. It's kind of like these belief doubt sort of cycles where sometimes I'm like, I believe all of it completely. Yes, like you're here with me, Jesus, and then I'm like, nothing's real. Nietzsche was right. This is, like, we're all going to die in a giant inferno, and like humans are terrible. And it's just kind of cycles,
Yeah.
But I think I am at my most religious at like 3:00 in the morning when I wake up between REM cycles. And then there's just not any doubt in my head. And I feel like there's like this benevolent spirit just like hovering over the bed. Some people wake up with night terrors. I wake up with night blisses.
Wow.
I know. Yeah, and that's like, I'm not a terribly optimistic person in my general life, I don't think, but I do have like that. It's a really nice thing I think you're at your most honest in your subconscious, right? And so when I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm not fully awake and I just have that like subconscious feeling of, oh, I'm not alone. There's like this presence with me, and that presence is actually like really kind and good and infinite, and I will return to it someday, and I don't know what I believe about that. I don't know, like, I'm not even sure that I would want to have my own conscious ego forever. That sounds like I'm kind of already tired of this person. Like, it would kind of be a blessing to just kind of let go and be part of the ocean,
Next.
So that is kind of a comforting thought, but I don't think that it's fearful. I don't think that it's just all entropy forever and that we're constantly aware of our own decay. I think that we return to something and we feel the unity on the other side. That's what I hope happens. And that feels true.
It's fun. I completely agree. Like and here we are like considering ourselves to have different belief systems a little bit, or like at the surface. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think also that you just sort of like, it was explained to me, and this is what like stuck with me, was a guy was like, I took a meditation class. So they were talking about all this.
What kind of meditation?
Transcendental, I guess, where you have a mantra that you repeat. But, he was saying, like picture just a vast, endless ocean, and at the top are these like little waves, and like that's your life. That little dance at the top splashes up, and then when you die, you're just the water again. Like you're just back to being everything.
Yeah,
part of everything. It's like we're all the ocean. All the waves is us, and like. So it's the same thing kind of in all of us.
Yeah,
which like you could call God, like the soul. I think whatever I'm calling the soul is the same exact thing you're calling the soul.
Absolutely.
And it comes from the same exact place.
Yeah.
And like, you're that thing in this body. I'm that thing here.
Exactly.
The tree is that thing in a tree, but it's still like the same thing sprouting from the same place. And then we all just return to it. Which is so funny. We
amen.
Amen, brother.
Yeah. I like it.
Like, it's funny how we just like group up so much, and we're like, I'm not fucking Christian, but it's like, and you're like, I'm not some fucking agnostic like sinner, but like we're thinking the same.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting. I don't know. We probably all agree so much more than we realize.
Yeah, I think so. And I think like, I mean, you've said a couple times really graciously, both of you, that like at its core Christianity is a good thing. And every time you said that, I've been like, I'm not actually sure that that's true.
I don't think those words came out of my mouth.
Maybe not you.
I said it. I feel like I defend it a lot, actually.
Yeah, it was a very charitable thing. I think actually, what do we mean when we say Christianity? Because I think when we say that, a lot of people hear the movement to consolidate power that began in Rome and hasn't stopped since,
Right.
And that's bad.
I agree.
That's just always been bad, and that's been used to enslave people and burn witches and all kinds of terrible stuff. And that's like not the vibe.
Yeah, I think
it's not
what
the
I
vibe
mean.
I'm going for.
Let me clarify my statements.
I want to fucking celebrate the Harvest Festival without being like afraid that they're gonna come for me. With a stake to my heart.
Are you like a little bit witchy? I'm getting.
I don't.
Every girl in LA is a little witchy.
Every girl in her heart is a little witchy.
I like witches. There's a kid at our school who's going through a witchy phase, and it's so cute. She got tarot cards for Christmas. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, actually.
And she's been like on the playground like with all her tarot cards.
Like reading kids.
I think she even has like a little like plastic crystal ball that she sets out.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And it's so cute.
Witchy
I'm just
face.
like, yes, that's awesome. We need
Wait,
more
actually,
witchy girls.
I did take a picture of them the other
boys.
day, I think. I can't believe it. Does she have blue hair?
She does.
Yeah.
There we go. All right.
Blue hair don't care.
Yeah.
You know who you are out there, blue hair.
Blue hair cares so much.
Yeah. Maybe.
That's fun. I remember her crystal ball. It caught my attention. I like had to take pictures, even though that was not my assignment.
Yeah.
But then they weren't good, so
Yeah,
no
I
evidence
guess
of them coming.
what I don't believe in is magic. Like, I don't think there's anything outside.
I believe in magic, baby.
I don't think there's anything outside of like physics. I mean, maybe if somebody teleported, I wouldn't say that's magic. I would say, okay, then we have a misunderstanding of physics, obviously, like if that's possible.
Okay.
Or like if, you know, or like things like astrology or tarot cards or like these like things like if they're, or like manifestation, like if it's there, then it's not a magic thing.
Yeah.
It's like, then there's a measurable science that we just haven't quite figured out how to measure.
Yeah.
That is saying that. Like, I don't know. I feel like I meet a lot of people who like believe in magic, sort of like there are these unexplainable and like can't even be explained or I don't know, you know, like magic. I don't believe in magic. Do you believe in magic, Ben?
I mean, I think science is magic. Like, so my first year teaching, after I was like not in the after school program, but I was actually in a classroom, like as an assistant teacher, I was in a K1 classroom with combined age, 5-year-olds to 6-year-olds together. And one of the lessons was about magnets. And it was like a Montessori sort of classroom. So it wasn't like everybody sits and hears the same lesson, but they can all kind of wander around and interact with the different materials. And each of them have like their own little lesson. And these magnets, like the little kid was like, is it magic? And I was like, no, there's poles and they like,
that's cooler than magic.
And I explained it to him and he was like, right, that's magic. And I was like, yeah, it is. Like the explanation doesn't make it any less magical. You wave this thing and it clings to each other or it repels itself. And like, there's not physically anything to observe in between those things. Like that is magical. And like, sure, there's an explanation for it. But like, I think when we say magic, we just mean that sense of wonder, like, oh, something happened that is mysterious to me. And wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I think all of science is about something's happening and it's mysterious to me. Like it's the same thing, and it's so weird that there's like science and materialism on one side and magic and etherealism on the other side, because
they're so similar.
Especially as you start to like zoom out into like membrane theory and string theory and parallel universes and, just all like, what do we know about reality? So little. Like magic is just kind of a catch-all term for everything that makes us go, to me.
Fair enough. All right. You got me there.
That was a good description.
Like, sort of how you're like a weekend agnostic or atheist. Like I think I'm sort of bi-weekly. Yeah. Because like I
and how could I hold space for magic and be excited by that, but then I'm not going to acknowledge that same sort of inexplicable phenomenon could be somebody else's spiritual awakening.
What?
But I'm just gonna sit over here.
I mean, that might have made sense. I don't know. I lost track of it. No, but so to debate myself or to counter what I was saying, I think, there are like, why does music make us feel that way? I don't know. And I don't know if science could like measure it or tell you why. Or also like, I don't believe in God, but I think it's wrong to do the wrong thing and it's right to do the right thing. And like, what is that? Nothing actually matters. The earth could explode. Like the universe still stays the same. That doesn't matter. Yeah. Like if I saw like a baby crying in the street, I'd be like, oh my God, we have to fucking like, this is so important. It's right. Like, so it's sort of a paradox that like, I think exists where it's like nothing matters and everything matters. And like, if you're a serial killer, I don't think it actually really makes a difference in the grand scheme of like everything. But it's still bad to do that.
Right.
And like, why? Why is it bad if they're like, why is there even good or bad?
Right.
And maybe it's just my like evolution that has like built me to have this value system.
Yeah.
Because that's like how we survive, is by like adhering to these values. Maybe, but.
Yeah. Like at some point in our kind of evolution from apes, it became like a survival instinct to protect the herd from murderers or
right.
to kind of care for babies, you know?
Sure. But why does that song make me like move my butt? I have no clue.
Right.
And I can't even really, I don't know.
That's the devil.
Could be the devil. That's the devil's music.
Like, move your butt.
Yeah. Go on, just
shake it a little bit. What are you thinking about? Is it dirty? Think about it more.
Yeah, maybe. But
I feel like I'm breathing really hard on this mic because I can't breathe out of my nose, so I feel like I'm.
Do you want a tissue or something?
We're going to wrap this up anyway. Great. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me get you a tissue, and Christine's getting us a crepe cake that we made. I think we're gonna end it by revealing the crepe cake. Oh, we didn't even talk about your music.
Oh yeah, I make music.
You make music, and so I assume this all started from the family band, right? Is that the beginning of?
Yeah.
And what's your like main instrument?
Probably my voice. I'm a singer.
Cool.
I love to write lyrics. I love to like tell stories over like verse chorus structures. You know, I write musical plays, so like
storyteller.
Yeah, like my dream would just be to like have Lin-Manuel Miranda's career. So a lot of the stuff that I write is kind of like it has a character, it has a scene, you know, that kind of thing. But I also play keyboard and ukulele, so most of the songs I write are on those.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you have some music coming out very soon.
I have a single coming out this Friday, which is about. It's kind of like a really wholesome story song about a grinder hookup that I had.
Nice.
That sort of like led me to kind of like receive God's grace, and kind of like it was kind of like a shift in my like a paradigm shifting moment, and like in my evolution away from kind of like Christian shame. So that's the new song that's coming out. It's called Saturday Night, and that comes out on Friday.
And where can people find that?
Just under my name, Ben Boquist, on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you listen to your music.
Rad.
Yeah.
When you listen to a song, are you focused on the lyrics or the music?
Mostly the lyrics or the chord progressions.
Nice.
A lot of the music that I like is older because I like a lot of chord progressions. Like standard pop songs have like 4 to 5 chords, you know?
Right.
And it's very repetitive, and I like a lot of that stuff now. But I love like Stephen Foster and Randy Newman and Gilbert and Sullivan and people that were writing like ragtime or operetta, you know, like that.
Of those names, I only know Randy Newman.
Oh, Randy, yeah, okay. Well, he's great.
But he is sort of like a storyteller, and it's almost like
totally
theatrical. Like it's these little. He takes you into a little world, kind of for each song.
Absolutely, and you listen to his chords. I mean, they're all over. I mean, the way he kind of like transitions between major and minor within every song is just really fun.
Paul Simon, I feel like, is really good with that too. Like, I mean, obviously there's some very poppy, like Simon and Garfunkel's simple songs, but
that whole era of kind of like folk pop fusion or whatever you want to call it is great.
Mm-hmm. And he'll like, maybe it is sort of a lost art form, but because nowadays pretty much every song is about like either like I'm great or like I like this girl or this guy, you know?
Yeah.
But it used to be like Paul Simon would be like, oh, this song's about like a pencil. You know, it's like from the point of view of the pencil. You know, like, you know, you don't really see songs like that with like this kind of higher concept. Like, no, that song's about like a butterfly. Like,
who wrote the song Vincent about Vincent Van Gogh? Is that Pete Seeger?
I don't know.
It's a beautiful song. I don't think it is Pete Seeger, but yeah, I love that whole air, like that. Joni Mitchell, Carole King.
Yeah.
But there's some really great storytellers making music now. Phoebe Bridgers. What's the super band that she's in with Lucy Dacus? Boy Genius?
I don't know.
Or, I mean, even Conor Oberst has been making music like that for the last like 20 years almost.
That's the Bright Eyes guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else? SZA. SZA's a storyteller.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. I don't know SZA's music that well.
I might kill my ex, not the best idea. That whole song.
I don't know it.
It's great. I mean, there's rappers that do that really well too.
For sure. Kendrick, I think he'll do like kind of a concept song.
Yeah.
That's a little more.
Don't judge my singing based on like that little SZA bit. That was like, I have a cold. I'm not.
Ben has a cold, everyone. Be nice.
But who else is making really good lyric music right now?
Yeah, I mean, music is cool, and there's a lot of cool stuff. For you growing up, like, what? I assume you weren't allowed to listen to like Eminem or like things like that? You know, like what were you listening to?
And I think I didn't have
a
lot of interest into it. I mean, because of Disney movies, I really got introduced to musicals. And so like, man, I love Stephen Sondheim. Sweeney Todd is such a brutal and beautiful piece of writing. Yeah, what else?
Yeah, like it's cool, those old Disney movies. You don't think of them as musicals, but they're musicals.
Oh, and they took all the best writers from Broadway and they put them to work. And that's why 90s Disney is so great, is because all the top talent of Broadway was writing for, Howard Ashman and Alan Menken.
And I guess they still do it, right? Like Coco and like Moana. Those are
Lin-Manuel Miranda, who did Hamilton, did Moana.
Oh, he did.
And Encanto.
He did Encanto as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he's great.
He's killing it. I never saw Hamilton though. Did you see it?
I did. The school where we work, one of our students, her father worked for the ticketing company. So when they were at Pantages back in like 2018,
perfect.
I got like 7th row seats, and so those would have been like easily $600 a person. So me and my friend went and saw it, and it was just
worth the hype.
Oh, absolutely.
Cool.
Live theater is just like, I was just in New York a couple weeks ago. Or I guess like a month ago now. Do you like live theater? Do you like Broadway?
I do. I haven't seen like a proper theater show in a long time, but when I was a kid, we had like season passes to the Marriott Theater in town.
Okay.
It was like the gift my grandparents would give our family every year, so we would go, and so that we would go see the plays with them.
Oh, nice.
Basically, but we would go to like a play a month, or maybe it was like every other month.
What
or something.
was the best thing you saw?
I remember very much enjoying Damn Yankees one year.
Oh yeah, that's Whatever Lone Wants. That song's from that. Yeah.
Yeah. There was also like a Revolutionary War one. Maybe it was called 1776.
Oh yeah, 1776.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that.
They're doing an all-female production of that.
Wow.
It's coming to LA this spring.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like history and stuff. I think I would enjoy Hamilton.
I think you would. I think you'd like it a lot.
But I've never seen it. Oh my God, look at this heart.
So pretty.
So yeah, for the people just watching, Christine has just brought out the crepe cake, which is like 20 crepes stacked on top of each other with a layer of jam in between.
I should have been filming the description.
So beautiful.
And
we are. Thank God.
And then now she's covered it with blackberries.
And so much cream.
So much cream and pomegranates.
How do I cut this? Where do I even begin?
I would just cut it in half like a broken heart. You're part of our Valentine's celebration, by the way, Ben.
Awesome.
So thank you for being here.
Thank you for including me.
Yeah, it's a very special day.
Your heart out.
It's heart-shaped. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah, you guys just released some music.
We did.
Plug that? Have you?
Let's plug it. I'm sure we already said it in the intro, but let's do it again.
Hear it again.
Yeah, you came over for our CD release party.
It was so
CD,
awesome.
Just album release. We don't have any
Thank
CDs
you so much.
made.
Thank you for the clarification. That was very uncomfortable for me.
Was it? Why?
Like,
thank you.
Having a party that's like sort of in my honor is like my own birthday party is like very uncomfortable for me. And like, so everybody come over to celebrate us and our music. It just felt... Like I love hosting, but I felt very uncomfortable. And then I'm like all self-conscious, like, is Ben having a good time because like he came here like to be nice and like support us, and like, is he having fun? Like it was fucking with my head.
Your people were cool.
Yeah, we have good people.
And the music was great. I think I said it then, but one of the things that really stayed with me was just there's a really great like bass in all of the songs. Like it just makes you want to like move every track, which is interesting because like a lot of them are like almost kind of like shoegaze in their like execution, but there's still kind of like a driving bass in all of them. So I found that really fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played most of the bass, so I appreciate that. And
I like the way that it's mixed.
They're kind of, thank you. Yeah. It's mixed by Nico Calwell, who's my buddy in Argentina.
Nice.
And yeah, it was like a fun, quite a fun process. And Christine is singing so beautifully. This is Christine's first music released to the world.
Awesome.
That is true.
You guys released a couple singles ahead of the album, though, right?
We did. Those singles are, we put like 2 singles out in January and then the whole thing out in February.
Is there pistachio? Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. You guys.
Wow.
Oh, this is
really good.
You guys, there's a lot going on.
If Jesus was a crepe cake,
Give me this one.
Give me this one.
Yeah. If this ain't proof that God's real, I don't know
he was with me when I whipped this one up. Let me tell you.
He or she. You know?
He or she, or whatever, was with me. Yeah, there's pistachio crema from Italy that I brought back, and then I broke up real pistachios in it, and then I made a blackberry like reduction for in between the layers, and then the whip has some like citrus and cinnamon and vanilla extract.
You're out of control. It's amazing.
This tastes good.
Not very sweet either, which I like.
Yeah.
I didn't put sugar in the jam. I just put honey, which is still sugar, but
In the crepes, I went way less sugar than normal.
How many layers of crepe is this?
You know,
Probably like
I didn't actually count them,
Yeah.
but we could count. Let's count them on
I
air.
think close to 20 maybe. Let's see. 1, 2. Wait, hold on. I need to bring this closer.
This would be like a good part to like cut to a close up of the crepe.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously,
Or
turn them over there while you
Do some
count
like
them.
ASMR. I'll chew really close to the mic.
Perfect. How many did we end up with? I'm gonna say 20. 1.
19. 19 I counted. It gets kind of lost at the top. But yeah,
Pretty good.
pretty dense. Well, hell yeah, Ben. Thanks for being on our show.
Yeah,
Guys, this was so fun. Thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah.
sure.
When that light came on, I was a little bit nervous, but I got over it.
Good,
Yeah, you forget it's there, right? I know. And then hearing your voice takes some getting used to, but
It does.
you did great.
Thank you.
Should we go smash this off?
We fixed
Camera?
religious division, guys. We fixed it.
We
Solved
did.
it.
It's fixed.
We realized we're all atheists and we're all Christian at the same time. Now we can all move on.
Yeah,
Yep.
talk about something else for a change.
Yeah, Chris, that was probably not your style of conversation. Christine doesn't like philosophical debates, or not even
I
debates.
get lost.
but
I get lost.
You articulated a great philosophical position.
Oh, well, thank you for sticking with me. I lost Paul a few times, but
you
that's...
lost me a couple of times.
You were repping like the naturalist witches.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Some of it was a little
Yeah.
witchy from no,
Little witchy.
a little witchy from my blood, but
Well, I put rosemary into that sweet syrup, so that if that ain't witchy, I don't know what is. Or I mean, literally, herbal knowledge is witchy. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of a witch.
I'm pro witch.
Do you have any like herbal knowledge for like congestion?
Yeah, I
What-
could make you a potion for that.
We got a poultice.
I have a
Yes.
potion we could do after this.
Awesome.
We really want to go crazy
Little
for the night.
congesty posh.
Ginger, hot water, lemon juice,
Okay.
cayenne, honey
Yeah.
is what I would recommend.
That sounds great.
Well,
Wasabi. I would recommend.
yeah, that'll wake you up too.
All right.
right.
Ben, thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody, thank you for
This was
watching. Check out Ben Boquist everywhere. Link in description. We love you guys. Good night.
Good night.
We'll say that at the intro as well.
Cool.